Welcome to another exciting episode of Bob the Sign Man.
Okay, I have this file, and a lot of people might have these files. You can buy them. Usually, your supplier that you buy your Flexi program for, you can buy these MUTCD sign layouts that are already pre-made. This is an old one that I have, so it doesn't have the newest ones in, but it far exceeds any that I need to make. So if you have to make some of these, can get awful complicated. So suppose you had to make this D913, for example. I would have no idea how to make that. So I've kind of figured out a way to do that. Let me copy this. This is a 24 by 24. Whenever you do these files, you want to copy and then you want to paste, because if you just open it up, okay, this will just open up onto my Flexi, and there we go. Any changes I make to it, okay, it's going to change it in my file, and I don't want to do that. So that's why it's always important to copy it. So I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to bring it up to my Flexi. Now that I copied, I want to copy and I want to paste it over. Okay, there's my image. If I click on my image, you can see it's 24 by 24. If I send this off to my printer and I print it on some diamond grade material or any kind of material that's 24 inch, my HP 365 printer is not going to print these edges, and you don't want to print these edges here because that's actually the outside of the blank, your sign, and then this is the border around it. So what I do to that is you can't just simply, if you uncompound it, because they're all compounded together, and what a compound is compound means you're punching it out. So this white area is like punched out of the blue. Okay, so once I have it here, I have to break it down. I want to get rid of that outside border, but still retain the image, and that can be kind of difficult at sometimes because everything's all like compounded together. So what I want to do is I want to click everything here. So everything's highlighted, and I'm just going to turn everything into a wireframe. See how I do that? This box over here. Let me bring my boxes a little closer. So just by clicking this image, it recognizes that it's blue, and I'm going to click everything into a wireframe so I can see it easier, okay? And now what I want to do is I want to take these. What I did is I clicked on the outside, okay, and I want to uncompound everything. Okay, so it's uncompounded, and then I want to come in and I want to ungroup everything. So now you can see the inside one. I want to uncompound that one also. So now you can see everything is going to be independent. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image, and it's a white image. So what I want to do is I want to keep it as a wireframe, and I want to turn it white, and I want to arrange that. See the order? I want to arrange that to the front. Okay, now this image is my sign blank. I don't need that right now, so because I'm not going to print that, so I'm just going to get rid of that. There's usually two of the frames there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to put the arrange. I'm going to arrange that. See where it says order? I'm going to go to the back, and I'm going to turn that into a wireframe. Or unclick the wireframe, I'm going to turn it back to blue. Now you can see, since I saved this image up to the front, all I have to do is click it, and now I don't want to do wireframe anymore. I want to do just unclick the wireframe, and it brought my image up to the front. Now what you want to do then is you want to select everything, and then you want to group it all together. Now this is 23 inches by 23 inches. You can send this off to your printer. There's various ways to put trim marks in. I found out the easiest way for me to do trim marks is I made my own little template. I'll go down here. Here's my trim lines. I usually have this open on my computer, and I want to select, it's a 24-inch sign, so I'm going to select my trim lines, which are the 24-inch. We'll come back to this, and I'm just going to copy and paste. Oops, paste these. And so there's my trim lines, and it's not centered on my design yet, so I'm just going to And this is why it's important to make sure that your image is all grouped together and saved, because when you group everything together, you want to make sure that your sign stays together. And these little lines, then you hit your control and your 5 and see how it just aligned those perfect. So now when you look at your image, you are 23 inches tall by 23 inches, your image. But then when you add your lines in, let's group everything together. Since it's all centered, now we're going to group it all together. As you can see now, you're still 24 inches tall, but you're 24.125 wide. So now you can send this off to your plotter, or your printer, I should say. You could probably send those off to your cutter, but that's kind of, a little detail to try to pick out, but you could still do it if you want to send it off to your cutter, but I prefer to send it off to my printer. And then you're just going to have to set your printer up. So I'm going to set my settings up here for my color profile. Then the material that I'm going to use, I want a user defined. And I'm just, since it's a 24 by 24, I'm just going to go ahead and print it on a 24-inch material. But it's actually going to be 24.375 is actual length of the material, because the material is always a little bit larger. Okay. So now that I have this set up on my page here, so you can see I have my material set, but now the job size, it's still going to be too big to print off of the printer because of that materials, because the guidelines are on the side of this symbol. So what I want to do then is I want to turn this sideways. So down here, it's a rotate tool. So I'm going to click this and see how the little figure standing up. Well, I'm going to lay him on its side. So now my width of my material is 23 inches, which will fit on the 24.375 inch material, and the height is 24.1. So if I want to make multiples of this, all I have to do is just hit copy, and then the space in between them, I usually will set it at 0 so there's no space. So when I make my line, it's just a straight cut. But if you prefer, you can put spacing. For some reason, if you ever had to do spacing, you can do some spacing in between. I don't know why you would want to. A few times I have had to put a few spaces in. If I wanted to trim a bunch while it's printing on the printer, I could trim it and work on it, but I don't prefer to do that. But so I like to set it at 0, and then I can just make one cut there. And then, sometimes I might have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 signs coming out. So I can just slice it down the middle after I, do 2, 3, whatever I have to do to laminate the top of them, because we don't have a laminating machine. We cold laminate everything. There we go. So I'll run through that again, and I'll bring another one up. Let's just grab one of these over here. I'm going to grab just a hospital symbol. I've just made this one not too long ago. I'm going to paste it over here. And let me shrink it down so we can see it. So if I click on the outside, you can see that my image is 24 by 24. Okay, first thing to do, click it into a wireframe, come up, uncompound, and you want to click it again, ungroup everything, come into this again, uncompound. So everything now should be uncompounded. We're going to get rid of this outside. We don't need this. So there's 2 of them on there. I don't know why it always says 2, but get rid of it because you don't need it. Now here's your symbol. Now it's going to be 23 by 23, and it'll go on your 24-inch blank because you'll have the 1/2-inch border all the way around. So it's a perfect size. Okay, so we're going to come in here and we're going to turn that into a white wireframe, because if we just go plain white, sometimes it'll just disappear on us like it just did. So we want to see how it did that. It's white, it's there, but it's just, you can't see it because it's white. So I'll click on this border and see how it's wireframe now. Well, we're going to turn it, since the back is going to be blue, we'll turn it blue. And there's our H symbol again. So we'll click the H symbol and see how it's clicked wireless. We'll just, or wireframe, not wireless. Just click it and there it's back again. So what you want to do, group everything together. And now you have your 23 by 23. Now you can put your cut lines in. I have an easier way I prefer to do it. I just come in here, come pick up my trim lines. So I'm going to pick the 24-inch trim lines. I'm going to copy those. And I am going to paste them here. So see how these, if I click these, they're joined together. So all this stuff here should be joined together. If not, make sure it's all grouped together. Because what I'm going to do is just drag it. I'm going to select all, and then I'll hit Control 5 again. See how it grouped it together. Then it's important too to make sure you select everything. You can grab like that, or you can hit your Control A key and it'll take everything there. Make sure those are all grouped together. Then just send it off to your cutter. And since I'm going to print this on 24-inch, I want to set up my cutter again, or not cutter, my printer, I'm sorry. You could send this to your cutter if you wanted to if you're using a Graphtec cutter or anything like that. So this is going to be 24.375 because it's always a little bit wider. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is you can see how it's going to print wider here now because my cut lines are on the side and it's not going to fit on there. So what I want to come up here to do is click this and I want to rotate it. So now you can see my material is only 23 inches. Now it'll print on there. Printing multiples, click 1, 2, 3. Then you can leave a space in between. Like I said, I'm just going to show you the one. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is centered. See how it's over on the side? Well, I want to center it down the material. And if I just click print, it's not always going to work out for me just the way it should. Okay, so on these 24 inches, what I do then is I'll set my settings on here. And I'll come over like, what I want to do, it's going to center on here, but it's going to want to print over on the left-hand side, or the right-hand side more. So I'm going to come up here to my right margin. And I usually change that to you can go 0.250. I've been going 0.260 and it comes out it leaves me just enough room to trim on the sides. So then all I have to do is just send it off to my printer and there we go. So there's an easy way to, if you have your files already done, go ahead and, import them like that. Okay, well, there's a little video on how I've imported some files. I've probably made a video in the past, but I just thought I'd update things a little bit, make it a little bit more user-friendly, easier to follow. So whenever you're in trouble, who are you going to turn to? That's right, you're going to turn to the Sign Man. As always, thanks for watching.
Bob the Sign Man is produced, edited, and directed by Bob the Sign Man. Bob the Sign Man is filmed on location in the beautiful Napa Valley. Bob the Sign Man is a trademark of Bob the Sign Man Productions. As always, thanks for watching.